What is going on, everyone? This is Sinden Lightgun and welcome back to the channel. So I want to give you guys a behind the scenes look at some of the projects that I have coming up and some of the video tutorials that I will have coming up in the next few weeks, in the next few days. Primarily, as you guys know, I've been shooting a lot of fireworks and whatnot, but I have been doing a lot of in-depth research for a number of upcoming videos. Primarily, today's video, we are going to discuss the Sinden Lightgun and its new accessories. We're definitely going to talk about that because I have some concerns about what's coming out and some of the new accessories that is already being released for it. Now, additionally, there have been a few videos made in regards to Sinden working on the iiRcade or iiRcade for that matter. Pretty much there's just been more or less speculation videos. So we're going to cover that today in today's video. And additionally, I want to give you guys some insight look at another project that I've actually put off now for the past 2 years, primarily dealing with modding an arcade cabinet, making it accessible for individuals with disabilities, which you guys can see here. Linus Tech Tips has one of these, and actually I was going to get one of these about 2 years ago. It's called the Logitech Adaptive Controller. But we're going to dig into a few things now because I have some concerns about some of the things that have been going on in the community, price gouging, and a lot of rumors going on with some of the technology. So this may be a long video, so let's buckle in and get with it. First thing I definitely want to share with you guys about, I've been gearing up for just doing a little bit of research. I have one of these on order. This is called the Logitech Adaptive Controller. What this is it is a wireless controller. It has a lithium ion battery built in, made for the Xbox One. As you guys can see, here's Linus demonstrating it. Came out about a good 2.5 years ago. I've actually had a chance to play with it at the Microsoft store back in 2019 before it shut down. And it allows you to connect various devices for your controller. Now, some of you have asked in the community some time ago, like, hey, what is the best way to hook up a pedal to your controller or to your arcade unit? And I thought about this. And so because this is, at the time, I think it was like $150 for the full set. I think now the price has dropped to about $100. But this is a economical way to help get people with disabilities playing retro arcade games. So this is a mod that I will be working on. I do have one of these on order, just familiarizing myself with everything, with all the additional parts, as you can see here. And then additionally, you can use the controller as a button or a pedal for your arcade unit. Now, here's something I want you to keep in mind. This unit that you have attachments to it, you can buy attachments to it. Some of the attachments cost $30, or you could just use the controller if you want to use it as a pedal. Has multifunctional purposes. Again, this is primarily made for people with disabilities who can't freely use a controller or use a joystick, so you can mod it however you want to. In fact, there are about, I think, 12 to 25 different types of controls that you can set up with this. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of insight as to, you know, what I've been doing, what I have coming down in the pipeline to make the enjoyment of our hobby a lot easier. And again, I don't refer to myself as a retro guy or RC guy. I see myself more or less as a hobbyist because I like to stay well-rounded for situations like this, because there are other tools out there in the community that can make your hobby a lot more enjoyable and also more cost-effective. Reason why I'm bringing this up is because I was looking at this and I was like, well, gee, you know, like, what else is out there in the market right now? What else is going on? And this isn't the only concern that I've had. I've seen other companies and entities coming up with different accessories for the market that are just outrageously ridiculous in price, They don't make the ease of use any easier, and they're just priced way out of the margin. And what I mean by price way out of the margin, for example, here is the brand new Sinden Lightgun pedal. Now this pedal is selling for $300 US. It's $259 plus there's an additional $40 cost to that, so that comes out to $300. Now I've watched a couple of videos for this, and some of the comments, everybody seems to have the same consensus of opinion. This is too expensive. I get that companies or entities are trying to make money, but as you can see here, you could pretty much do the same thing. All this is a pedal with a controller that you really need to step on. Now again, this is the Logitech adaptive gaming controller. Yes, you could put your foot on this if you want to. I wouldn't say that's necessarily ideal, but you can get attachments for it if you want. But again, this is $100 made by Logitech for the Xbox. Obviously you can use this for PC or Xbox, whatever you want to. And it's simple, and it's multifunctional purposes, and it gives you more uses than just using this as a pedal. Now, this supposedly has arcade quality. It's $300. There were a number of people that commented on both videos because I did watch them. And some people say, you know, offered suggestions like, hey, you could go get the Elgato pedal for 70 bucks. And, you know, I saw that several days ago, and now that I went back to watch the video again, some of those comments have been removed because there are cheaper, reasonably sensed alternatives out there to use as a light gun pedal. So one of the suggestions was the Elgato pedal. So keep in mind, this is the Elgato Stream Deck pedal. And of course, there's other things out there on the market. $77. $77 for a pedal. You can get another pedal for $39. There's other pedals out here in the market. I don't have some of these in front of me. Here's another one here for $67. I believe there's also musician pedals that you can also use and integrate. Here's another pedal here for $18 for $18.99. Just something really simple. And so now for those of you saying, well, Keel, you know, this isn't, you know, arcade quality or anything like that. So I called up one of my other buddies who's another YouTuber. He specializes in metal or sheet metal fabrication. And I asked him, I said, hey, man, can you give me a price quote on what it would take to make something like this? And he said, well, Keel, this would typically cost you about maybe 30 to 50 bucks. He said, however, if you want it, you know, if you order in bulk, or actually, no, he said it would cost about $150. But he said for a bulk order, you could do 5 for the same price. So roughly that does come out to $30. So something like this at a sheet metal station in the United States will roughly cost you about $150 for about 5 of them. And yet we're selling these for $300 here. Now I get it. You know, it's a free market, free enterprise. People can do whatever it is they want. But I think we've lost sight in the community in terms of offering suggestions or alternatives to keep everything cost effective. I mean, this is just ludicrous. It's ridiculous. It's a pedal. And to make matters worse, I'm going to show you guys something here in just a minute. This isn't just a standard pedal. It has its own software to go along with it, which then further intensifies the situation in terms of connectivity and getting this to work with primarily retropie and then also your computer. So this is the software for the pedal. Now I want to read to you guys some of the directions that came with this, because you know I was working on my retropie 3B Plus image for my Patreon members, and I was like, gee, you know what, let me see if I can add this in software. So I went to the forum, went to the website, downloaded the latest drivers and stuff, and then I came across this, and I was like, well, what is this? You know, you mean this pedal now has additional software? And so in the changelog, it appears to me, based upon what I'm reading here, that this pedal can also be detected as a light gun, which has caused complications. So it fixed the segment default on issue Linux software where existing the calibration tool was giving a confusing error message. For light guns with ID of Sinden Cam A and Sinden Cam B, I slightly increased the default exposure setting from -8 to -7. In fact, let me go back up here. Added foot tool features to light gun Windows software. Added pedal integration to Windows light gun software so pedal can map as a light gun action. Minor fix that reduces jitter by a small amount. Added Sinden Lightgun support Cam C and Cam D camera modules in Windows and Linux software. Updated Linux software so it doesn't consider other serial devices as a pedal to be a light gun. Now, this is a pedal. This is all this is. This is a pedal. There's nothing special about this. You shouldn't need software for it. For those of you familiar with RetroArch and MAME, all you have to do is pretty much plug in any device whatsoever, put it underneath you, step on it, and you can map or press it or whatever and map that button to be your pedal. You don't need additional programming to see this. And I've shared with you guys some of these texts, and you guys have seen some of the other things on the forum, and some people have said that this is overly or over-engineered. And I have to agree that this is over-engineered. All you have to do is go down to your local Walmart. You can go down to your local Salvation Army, buy one of those broken mice or broken mouse. You remember the mice that you could get that have the actual trackball in it? Pull that out if you want to. Plug it into your computer, plug it into your RetroPie device, and you can map the left click or the right click button as your pedal if you want to do that. Or you could go out and go buy a broken keyboard that only has one working key, maybe spacebar, enter, or whatever. It doesn't really matter. Put that on the floor and make that your pedal. That's really how simple this process is. And this is overly complicated to get this to work. So just wanted to show you guys this here. And then also too, I did a little bit more research. I did download the brand new Pi 4 image that was made by somebody in the Sinden forums. Did a good, they did a good job on it and everything. But I just wanted to see if the new software was already if it already included the new software on the new image. Now it didn't, so it lets me know that, obviously the pedal's new. I'm not sure when this image came out, maybe 2 weeks ago, but obviously this was released before the pedal and the new updates and stuff. So even if you get the new image, you're gonna have to install all this software and everything on there and make sure there's no configuration issues. So the concern that I have is that we have things in the community that are really simple. And things like this are overcomplicating the issue. And so here's the actual standalone software here, as you can see for the pedal. Is this worth $350 or I'm sorry, $300? No, this is overkill. This is overkill because you have many options out there. This is one of them. You have other options out there, or you could just use a basic keyboard, mouse, whatever you want to put underneath your foot and program it as a pedal. I think we've lost sight about things like this. And, just to give you guys a little bit more perspective, one of the Supreme devs, like we were kind of pushing to try to get the emulation working a little bit better on the Pi 4 in reference to Nintendo Wii. And they said, Keo, you know what? It's really not worth putting this additional time and effort into trying to get the Nintendo Wii emulation or the the Dolphin software to work or run better on the Pi 4, because you could go out to GameStop and go get a used Nintendo Wii for $50. And I had to agree. I had to agree with that. You want to keep things in mind and keep things simplified based upon current market practices, knowing everything is out there. So I'm concerned that something like this is done or priced without weighing all these other factors. 18 bucks, 67. Yeah, what else we got here? $77. That's a huge markup. And that's a huge markup from arcade quality, because my buddy over at the sheet metal factory said he could print out 5 roughly. He gave me a rough estimate of 5 because it would cost around the same price for $150 for this same type of quality. So just definitely wanted to bring you guys into attention to that, because we definitely see some of these other things here. Additionally, another concern that has been brought up is that there are some videos out there, maybe mentioning, speculative of course, that the Sinden Lightgun may be coming to iiRcade. I believe they possibly have a new machine coming out that goes standard. And again, it's all rumored, but I just want to give you guys some my personal thoughts on this particular subject. That would be a very bad idea, and I'm going to tell you why. As of right now, the Sinden Lightgun was promised to work on RetroPie, primarily the Pi 3B Plus, PC, and then of course the Pi 4. That's it. From my understanding, the iiRcade operates off of an Android-based software, which means that even like as of today, let's say, hey, let's go ahead and have the Sinden Lightgun working on iiRcade. That would need about 2 to 3 months of testing just to make sure that everything is, you know, working quote unquote correctly. There is no official Pi or Raspberry Pi Linux support. There is none. What you have is a program called, and I've said this before in other videos, you guys have probably watched it. Let me pull this up. You have a program called mono.exe. Let me see if this is in here. Yeah, this is a PC program, mono.exe, which launches the application. So that initiates the camera to work on the Pi. There is no GitHub, which is why you guys have to download these files individually in order to get them to work for RetroPie, and then copy them over to your image to get them to work. Now, typically, for those of you who are familiar with Windows, you download your program and then it removes any existing software and then installs something else. There's no setup for that. And typically, for those of you who do RetroPie updates, typically the RetroPie team does that for you. If you go, you type in what sudo apt update, it does that for you automatically. But this, you got to do it all manually. And so the other point or the problem is that since there is no official, there's no official Pi tutorial on how to install this. You have other YouTubers installing the software. And then secondly, there was no understanding when the Pi 4 came out, or actually when the light gun came out, Sinden Lightgun. We all thought it would be universal, and it's not. And we didn't find that out until after I got sent a review unit for the Sinden Lightgun that RetroPie was not, or the Sinden Lightgun software is not universal to work on Linux. As you know, nobody's really been, well, actually there's a couple of guys that have it out. I've been one of them that have it working on a non-official RetroPie image. And so that would be one of the concerns in the community, is to know that if you have other development going on, and we've seen it, we've seen development for the PlayStation for the Sinden Lightgun with an adapter, and then of course the possibility of even having Android-based operating system with the Sinden, will really be disheartening to the community for those that still struggle to this day who don't have an official tutorial, and there is no universal software for Linux for the Sinden Lightgun. It takes people hours. And then the other problem is, you guys haven't noticed it, there are no combined, well, let me say this correctly. There are no fully loaded light gun images out there for RetroPie. Now, I made Pistolero, and the reason why I made Pistolero was because there had never been a dedicated light gun image. Now, that was never the goal. The goal was to do it. Well, it was never been done before. It'd just be good to have. But ever since I've released Pistolero, we've had a number of different versions of the Hairy Bones image, which is a dedicated Sinden Lightgun image. That was never the goal. The goal was to have the Sinden Lightgun work universally across multiple fully loaded images. Fully loaded images. I mean, we've had that with when I released Supreme 1-Up a few years ago. Obviously, it had a number of arcade games on there. There's other RetroPie 3B Plus images out there, and RetroPie 4 images where you could use a Wee Dolphin bar. Now, that is the ultimate goal, to have something like that where you have a fully loaded image with all of your compatible light guns games on there. and being able to play. There was never the goal just to have a standalone image where you would need to bounce back and forth between a dedicated light gun or retropie image versus something where they had all your games on it. It still had light gun games on there, but you know, you wanted to actually use a light gun. So it can be done. There's only a few guys that have actually done it. I've been one of them to actually make that, but it's a lot of time and work. But we haven't gotten that from the community. We haven't gotten that from Sinden, because that's what people are looking for. So again, I just said all that to say that to know that there would be any more development across any other front ends without having this taken care of would be a huge slap in the face to the community, to those that actually bought the gun, to those who actually struggle, because keep in mind, this is an entity. This is not a hobby-based project. You've had many community members taking up their time and effort to explain how something works, how something connects, and it's been very difficult for a lot of people. But I definitely just wanted to take out some time and address a lot of this, because this is supposed to be a simple and fun hobby, and I've just seen a lot of price gouging, a lot of over-engineering, a lot of complicated solutions presented to retro gaming when everything could just be simple. I mean, for the cost of this pedal, it's $300. You can go get 2 Sinden Lightgun recoil guns for approximately the same price. I'm also aware, I think there are other 2 people or companies or entities, however you want to state it, that are also working on their own pads. But again, you have this for $300. You have this, a basic PC sensor for a USB foot pedal, $39, $77. That's pretty much the price range. I mean, that is just astronomical to even ask for something like that. And then to tack on additional programming, and knowing that this could possibly be detected as an additional light gun or equipment. And, you know, just so you guys know, I was planning on my 3B Plus image. I was kind of figuring out what direction to kind of take it in. You know, I have a lot of options available to me. So I just downloaded this by sheer chance, and this totally knocked the wind out of me to see here that there was an additional software that you needed. It came with a pedal for something that's so simple. All you have to do is just pull up the emulator and click whatever button you want to make it your pedal. You guys have seen that before. You don't need additional software programming for this. And before I forget, there's something else I definitely want to tell you guys about. I did a video a few months ago in reference to this article. And, you know, a lot of people talk about, just to give you guys a little taste of my upcoming light gun video, because you guys know I've had the Gun 4, the AE, the Sinden light guns, the Dolphin bar, and also the one-shot light gun. So I pretty much have all the light guns on the market right now that are being sought after, other than the aim track gun. And so you've seen many reviews out there of everyone claiming to have the most accurate light gun, or I have the best light gun, or do a comparison video between the Gun 4 or the AE or the AE or the Gun 4 versus the Sinden light gun. And so I've shared this with you guys in a number of videos, that the emulation is only as good as the RetroArch team and the MAME team. And so I bring that up to point out this. I did a video on this subject several months ago called "The MAME Emulator Received an Update That Reduces the Accuracy of the Simulated Light Gun Increase in Accuracy." So what happened was the MAME team thought this primarily pertains to let's see here. This primarily pertains to the Nintendo Zapper. So not all the other emulators that are out there, but primarily the Nintendo Zapper gun. So what happened was they made a mistake. The MAME team over-calibrated the settings in MAME for the Nintendo Zapper because they didn't think it was as accurate as they thought it was. Turns out they were wrong. And so I bring all that up to say this. If you've watched any video and anybody's been doing a comparison video between light guns and claiming one is better than the other, and you see them playing some type of Nintendo game or using MAME, all their videos are flawed. And I'm going to go into detail about all of this in regards to my light gun tutorial, because your game experience is solely tied to the emulator, because that's what it interfaces with. So any game or any video that you see, I'm sorry, any video that you've seen with anybody saying, yeah, this gun is better than this, their whole review is flawed for this reason. And I've known this for quite some time, because when you're making retropie images and a lot of people are making a retropie image and they say, yeah, I got this game working and this game working. But, obviously it's pretty much impossible for everybody to test every game and go through. You have no idea how a game is emulated unless you play it from start to finish. It's just impossible. Now, you could play it for the first 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or just see if it boots up, and if it sounds or looks fine, you're pretty much golden. But nobody knows the true accuracy of how these games are being emulated unless you know every sound and every hiccup from start to finish. And so the MAME emulator was overcalculated up until a few months ago, until this update, because they didn't think the Nintendo Zapper was as good as it was. And so I'm sorry to tell everyone. I mean, I'm going a little bit into my light gun review when I give you guys all this information, but I'm sorry to say it. If you put out a light gun video and say, hey, this gun is better than this one, then your whole review has been flawed. And this is some of the concerns that are going on right now within the retro gaming community, is that people are putting out tutorials and videos claiming something is better than the other, and they have no understanding of how some of these simple mechanics work. And I'll give you guys an idea. There's one of my favorite games called Future Cop LAPD, and it plays great, plays fine, but if you play one of the battle modes, I forgot what it's called, there's no sound when the enemy fights you. And I know that was one of the particular sounds on the PlayStation. So that's one of the things that goes on with emulation. And in fact, another situation that came up, I know a few months ago, there was a gentleman, I can't think of his name, but he was running a lot of reviews for Killer Instinct. And he was doing these video reviews, trying to see if the sound was off or everything like that. And, I hate to break it to all of you, but there is no possible way you're going to get 100% arcade emulation using today's technology. If the arcade used a 5400 RPM hard drive or whatever it used at that time, and you're using an SSD with the new graphics processor, it's not going to be the same. I don't even care if the original company tried to make it. Today's hardware runs totally different. So if you got an SSD running in your computer with load time using a SATA 6 cable and a faster processor, there's no way in hell that you're going to get the same audio sequences and everything with emulation. But again, you have people putting out tutorials talking about accuracy, trying to demonstrate, say, hey, maybe the sound is off, or how come this game is loading a little bit faster using different technology. It's just not going to happen. So just wanted to give you guys a little heads up as some of my reviews are coming out in regards to emulation, how some of the emulation works, how the Sinden Lightgun is going to be expected to work maybe across different platforms, because this is concerning, is that we're getting a lot of information. We're getting a lot of over engineering. We're getting price gouging for something that should look something, like this, when, like I said, you have to think about these things prior. Like, does this really make good business sense? And I'm not the only one sharing these concerns. You guys can watch this across a number of other videos, but this is just ludicrous. $300 for a pedal. And then to see this overly complicated sequence of software needed to hook up something to a PC or a Pi. I saw the instructions for this and I just said, you know what, screw this. In fact, if you guys watch my public Facebook page, I was like, should I even include the Sinden software for my Patreons? I mean, I understand it's my Patreons and I give you guys whatever, but these are some of the things why a lot of the development has stopped. I even showed one of the guys from the Supreme team this, and he was just like, this is just overkill. It's just not even worth it, because you shouldn't need any software for a pedal to work. And I know one of the guys in the community joked around saying, hey, is there a border that comes with this pedal? And I thought that was kind of funny. But no, you guys are familiar with pedals, but even with light gun technology, and you guys understand how pedals work, it's just something you plug in a USB and you can map it. The retropie, Raspberry Pi, and PC recognize these additional USB devices, and then you map it to the emulator. Really simple. You shouldn't need software or anything else to calibrate or program it with, whatever it's going on. But anyway, just wanted to give you guys some insights as to what I have coming up. I will have this here on the adaptive gaming kit because, in fact, even up until this time period, I haven't seen a lot, but just really disappointed we haven't seen a lot more ingenuity in regards to accessibility for people with disabilities to enjoy the retro games the same way that we normally do. But this is a solution that I do have coming in. It will have all these additional adapters. There are additional adapters that you can use with this, so I will be breaking down my iiRcade 1-up unit, or just a standard iiRcade unit, just to show you guys how this will work. But again, this is wireless. It has a battery in it. You can use it as an Xbox controller. You can even hook up another standard controller to this as well, and you could use it as a foot pedal for $99. $99. And not only does this have a warranty, it's also in abundance of supply. So whereas, let's say, for example, you get one of these, you know, defects happen. Let's say something happens in shipment. You have to go through their process. But this is carried and backed by Logitech and Microsoft. So, and then of course you also have the Elgato unit. These are more in abundance and less cost effective, or better, less cost effective, or actually, no, I'm sorry, better cost effective than getting some for $300. And then you have to go through a warranty process, where this device is a proprietary unit because it's made by Sinden, and you have to order it and you have to ship it back overseas to possibly get a replacement if something happens, whereas these are in abundance of supply. So that's another thing that I look at here. So this is Keel Dyken. Consider subscribing to the channel. I had to let you guys know how I felt about this. This is just, again, an overkill price. There's other simplified ways to do things. And this isn't the only device on the market that I've seen in the retro gaming community that I think is just overkill. I've seen some other devices people have been using to play the Nintendo Switch for $130 or so, and again, you could get a Chronos Zen, you could get a Chronos Max, or a Chronos, or actually you could get a Titan 1. Those are gaming adapters. I've had those on order. I have some of them here, and those at the time were about maybe $50, you know, to simplify that. You have other devices out there that are selling for $130 to do the same thing that I've been doing. I've been playing have my Nintendo Switch hooked up to my iiRcade with no problems, with all the buttons working for the past 2 years. And so just wanted to give you guys my thoughts on this, also address some of the rumors that are coming out. But again, this would be a disservice if the Sinden Lightgun heads to the iiRcade and the software solution for the Raspberry Pi has not been fully adjusted. Again, there are no fully loaded images with fully plug and play. And there are no official tutorials for this. And RetroArch isn't universal. We didn't find that out until after my review that I did late of 2020, when guns were already being shipped out. So consider subscribing to the channel. I will have more on this. I will be addressing some more things going on in the iiRcade community to make sure that there's not a disconnect between understanding versus sensationalizing the whole issue. You guys all have a good night. I'll catch you later. I'll be back. Peace out. Bye-bye.